Into session at this point in time, and seeing as how we're already late on the Board of Equalization, we'll just hold off and finish this up. So first off, we're going to discuss and act on tractor bids.
Greg Henning with County Roads. Thank both the gentlemen for coming tonight. We looked over the trucks, and I believe we're gonna try a little bit different on this year. We're gonna try the Western Star 600 horse for, should have it in front of me.
I believe it's $153 and $26.
Yep, that's correct. I just found it. And for the trailer, I would suggest.
Hold on just a second.
Go ahead, sorry.
Just that's your recommendation on the truck?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so me and Greg went through the bids. That to me is the absolute best value of the bids submitted. I think if it's set up correctly for our needs, I think it'll be a truck that will last the county a long time.
Okay. So we'll need to entertain a motion in a second, and then in that motion in a second, the plan to pay for it will come from. Currently in ARPA, we have 157, 216, 47, so that looks like that'd be a perfect fit for that.
Make a motion to purchase a 2026 Western Star with a 600 horsepower motor at $153,026, utilizing the ARPA funds.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Sides.
Yes.
Groats.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, Greg.
Okay. Since we got the two trailer bids back, our way and the Travis is an aluminum trailer. We've had quite a little trouble with corrosion, and this one also will carry 3 more cubic yards per trip. So we would like to suggest that one, realizing that it is $9,000 more compared to the R way, but I think we'll make it back with the 3 extra yards we're taking each trip.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I would add to that is I think it being an aluminum trailer looks to be built correctly. I think we'll actually have something left at the end of its life, whereas the steel bodies we've been running now are pretty much scrap iron, in my opinion.
Okay. Okay.
Make a motion to purchase the Travis trailer for $82,500.
Second.
Gentlemen, now again, budgeted item.
Yeah, this is a budget. We would, also my motion, I'd like to pay for this out of our budget, normal budget.
This was in the roads budget, or
I
did we
believe it was in the roads, and then we were gonna
transfer over from the areas? Okay, perfect. Thank you.
So
And
to
it-
be paid out of the roads and
No,
inheritance?
no, it's transfer back over.
Oh,
So it'd be paid out of the roads budget.
okay, gotcha.
Okay, all right. So any other discussion? Roll call, please, Mary.
Bowman.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Sides.
Yes.
Groats.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Greg, thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it. Okay, next up, discuss and act on 80 camera system bid.
Josh Gillespie, Sheriff's Department, back for the camera bid. And so, first of all, I'd like to thank all the people that actually came in and bid on this. There was a lot of vendors that walked to the courthouse, took a look at everything, and I was surprised at the amount of bids that we had. We had 7 come in. We narrowed it down to 2. We narrowed it down to the one between Applied Connective and Soren Group. Applied Connective with the additional storage to go through and to be able to record all the time, not just motion only, would come out to roughly $114,000 is what we were looking at. Soren's bid came in at $66,385. The difference between the camera systems, one's at 8 megapixel, which is applied. Soren's Group is at 5 megapixel. When you're looking at the difference, 8 megapixel would be the equivalent of 4K. So that's what the resolution is. It's extremely high resolution. The Soren Group is 5 megapixel, which is above the 1080 requirement. It actually is in the resolution by numbers, it'd be 2560 by 1920. So very high resolution. It's functionally right between 1080 and the 4K. So it's right in the middle of those, a little higher than the middle of those. So extremely good resolution. We like both of the bids. One obviously is $47,000 more than the other one, but we decided to bring both options in front of this board, answer any questions that you guys might have, and see if we can come to a decision.
So
Daniel?
yeah, so when you're opening bids and you see one that's fairly high and you see one that's fairly low, you immediately question, what is different about those bids compared to the median bids. After going through Soren's bid, everything lines up with what was requested to be bid. It is all new cabling, like was mentioned, the 5 megapixel cameras. There's 80 of them, and so their bid, the price point is very attractive. On the flip side, the Applied Connective, a little higher resolution. What was bid, the number that we all heard when you called them out, the 100,989, that was for a motion only recording. So the system is watching. Then if there's motion, it starts recording on that camera. That is something that both the call center and law enforcement have said they really would want the ability to have full-time motion or full-time recording, not just motion. And so in order to do that, Applied had put in their bid that they would basically double the server size, which took it to that 114,989. So the struggle there is, yes, Applied Connective probably has a higher resolution image, but it's 47,000 more, and do we need that resolution? Now, there's the argument that everything continues to get better and better and better, so are we behind the 8 ball if we start at currently we have 2, so then we're upgrading, but if we go to 5, but are we doing ourselves a favor by just jumping clear to the 8? And that's where we were struggling on justifying spending the extra money. Both the call center and law enforcement have stated that they would be very comfortable with the system from Soren Group. Soren Group does service a number of our technology here in the courthouse, specifically on the call center and law enforcement side. So there is a relationship there that is a good relationship, and it works well. And so that's why they're be very comfortable with accepting that bid.
So my question, I guess, the first one I can think of is if the Applied, say, raised the level of what they bid, and we're not comparing apples to apples in the process, because we got Soren bidding, say, here, and Applied's bidding here, how do we know if we didn't ask Soren to bid the same, we wouldn't, end up saving some money? So that could be a little bit of a question in the sealed bid process too, if we're not comparing apples to apples on that. respect.
Yep. And I would say that the 114,989 is apples to apples to the 66,308.
Okay, it is, other than the megapixels.
Other than the size of the cameras, because the server sizes are so close to
True.
each other. So it's coming down to camera quality at this point.
Okay,
And you would lose some retention, time frame, because you're gonna lose some of the time frame, because 8 megapixels obviously takes up more storage than the 5 megapixels, so you're gonna be able to retain a longer period of time, in storage. So you might be able to go back, 120 days instead of 90 is what you'd be looking at. Just a rough estimate, don't quote me on that, but that's what they're looking at. Both of these systems say that they will do 90 days continuous recording. So that's 3 months worth of video at any given time.
okay. Leroy, anything? Andy?
The applied one can add 10 more cameras due to the system they want to install.
Correct.
So they can go up to 90.
They can go up to 96, and the Soren can go up to 124. So they're both scalable, so they both have the option of adding more cameras if we were to choose to do so in the future.
We did verify both of these were stringing all new cable.
Correct, yes, that's correct.
Andy?
What's your opinion, Josh?
I don't know that I can justify $48,000 difference to have a 3 megapixel upgrade. I just don't know that I can do it. I think it's fiscally responsible to go with the lesser bid. And honestly, I think that they did a good product, so that's just where I'm sitting at this point.
Yeah, because if we think about futuristic, I mean, futuristic is in a year, everything's better anyway, you know, so I don't know if we're buying stuff for 20 years, are we? I mean,
It's usually, and most camera systems, I think the oldest cameras that we have in our system right now are probably between 12 and 14 years old total. That was the initial cameras, and some cameras are probably, maybe that's 8 years old. So I think that you're probably looking at, something that would be, would be serviceable for about that period of time. That's what we'd be looking at. 8+ years is what I would hope to get out of the camera system.
okay, Paul?
The only comment I'd make is Thorn Group, they've always treated us pretty good too in the county, so I would lean towards,
We do have a relationship with them.
yeah,
Yeah.
they do a good job for us, so.
I personally really struggle not having the cameras resolution apples to apples on these bids. I'd really like to see what Solar can provide on the same resolution. I think I don't know anyone that's sitting up here right now that would go to Walmart and buy a 720p TV versus a 1080 for any amount of money. I mean, we're talking about technology. They may change those requirements of 2 years down the road, and we'll get another year of grace period. Our 12-year camera system may need to be replaced before. There's got to be some benefits to the higher res for you guys. From a legal standpoint, I don't know, Gary, if you get any input on it.
If the time ever came, the higher the quality, the better. The more detail, the better, period.
In the sizing of the images that we're talking about, what would be the difference? I guess just as you would zoom in on something, you could zoom in farther on the 8 versus the 5.
Yeah, obviously, we're dealing right now with 2 megapixel, and that can cause some issues.
Sure.
Where you're talking about there can be blurry spots, and it's not necessarily as detailed when we're looking at pictures. And we've also got some cameras, like we said, that are 12 years old that are in our correctional facility, that it's harder to see things when you're looking for detail for sure. But I think doubling your resolution with new cameras is gonna make a huge difference. And most of the stuff that you're watching, you know, on your TVs is not in 4K at this point. At the most, you're getting that 1080, which is extremely clear. I think that it would be clear enough to be able to see what we would need to be able to see with it. But if, you know, 8K, yeah, absolutely, it is the top of the line at this point. That's what it is. That's where we're at. And so, you know, I would leave it in this board's hands to go through and to decide.
And what was the cameras of that bid, that 68,000? I mean, what was the share of the cameras on that again?
About 25,000.
For 80 of them?
Right. 34 exterior and 46 interior.
Okay.
And I don't know, do we know if the server,
In the 4K cameras on, oh, I'm sorry.
I would, like the processor, the server for these cameras, it would probably change in price as well if it was an 8 megapixel? Or do we know?
Most of the time, the recorders are fairly similar, like they'd be,
Okay.
that you'd be fine with running. Obviously, you'd have to add a second server, on the supplied, for that $14,000, but they've already built it in over here to increase the length of storage time. So, and then the difference, what you're talking about, to answer the question, it was 25 on the Sorin for the cameras, and it's 43 for the cameras on applied. So, you know, you're talking a difference of $18,000.
Okay. Well, I guess personally, I agree with what Josh said. You know, fiscally responsible. We're looking at a way better system than we currently have,
Correct.
even with the 5 megapixel versus the 8. The clarity and everything like that, and the relationship with Soren. I mean, I would be fine with, personally, with that particular bid. You know.
I guess I'd like to relate a quick story to the board. A couple of weeks ago, I had an individual that came in with a complaint. He'd been arrested and claimed that some of his property had been kept by the jail, and was real upset and wanted it back. And so Josh went and researched the video, and in the video, you can see our correctional officers handing this item to this individual, and he walks out. So, I mean, that kind of saves us, you know, with maybe litigation or something like that. So, I mean, it's good to have that back there just for you know, those type of situations.
And that is with the current system.
As we have the current system, yes, and anything that we have from this point is gonna be just that much better.
Just to interject a little story here, this is current news. The CEO that was shot in the back in New York, the resolution on those cameras picked out that guy's face from the cameras across the street. And they were that accurate. You see bank cameras, here's a person robbing a bank, for crying out loud, standing right in front of the camera, and it's all blurry when it comes out. So resolution has got to be something you think about, even if it is more expensive. I mean, if you don't have the resolution, what good is it? It's a blur.
I would agree.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Daniel?
Well, based on the comments from those that will actually use the system, and that it is a lower price point, I would make the motion that we go with the Soren Group solution, and I'll just put that out there, and we'll see if it gets a second, and see if it gets any votes.
Payment? This
Um,
was not a budgeted, so.
Correct, so it would have to, come out of inheritance at this point, I believe.
I will second
one thing that we also need to mention was that all of the bidders were notified of so in addition to this cost being covered, there's an additional $5,000 that's going to be covered in switches for the courthouse as well. So if we could include that into this, because that's the backbone of this system.
Right.
So,
So we almost can take that out of our
Oh,
the switches.
be fine.
Switches.
That'd be fine. We're close enough there on that, that'd be fine.
Okay. So I'll amend, or yeah,
And just
amend that.
add to your
Add
motion.
that to the motion that the switches for the camera system will be purchased out of ARPA.
Leroy, you good with that?
I'll still second.
Okay, any other discussion regarding that?
I personally would like to see what Sword bid would be with the higher res cameras. I mean, we heard a couple different stories, but, I mean, Paul, your story pushed me more to want to have that higher res. Just, as technology changes, you want to be able to see it. But if they can come in, heck, maybe they come in. What I don't want to happen is we find out after we do this project that for $12,000 more, we could have the same resolution we've been discussing here for the last 10 minutes. That's my concern.
The only thing that I would think we would have to do on that, if we're gonna change the specs of the bid, then we're gonna change the whole thing. We're gonna have to give them all, that opportunity again.
To rebid it at 8 megapixels.
What were the other bids at?
There was some 5s, there was a 2, there was a 4, there was 3, 4, and 5. There was a mix.
and then most of them, a majority of the people bid them in some level of 5.
They were the but I mean, it's not. It's maybe a little bit of a pain, but it's not that big of a. I mean, we'd have to advertise it again that
Mhm.
we would amend our to a bid
I
at
get,
8 and at 5.
I guess I'd like to retract that. Applied was the only bid that
That had
offered.
8. They're the only one.
So I think one thing I would commend you guys on is you got probably the best in the industry. And if Applied's the only one recommending going up there, for the money, I guess I'm gonna take a step back from my previous position.
Okay. Well, I just don't want us to change the specs,
Yeah.
and go that route. More discussion? We do have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
aye.
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Josh, thank you. Ashley took off, but thank her for coming in tonight too. And taking care of that for us. All right.
Josh, we'll probably need to get those servers procured by the end of the year, or at least have an agreement signed.
I will get you a contract.
The switches?
The switches.
The switches. Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else while we're sitting as commissioners, gentlemen?
Oh, yeah.
None? All right. We did committee reports, so we will adjourn as board of commissioners. And at this time, a little bit late, we'll convene as board of equalization. Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Here.
Bowman,
Here.
Sykes,
Here.
aye.
Here.
Obermeyer.
Yes, I'm here to announce open meeting laws on the south side of the chambers. It is in the hallway outside of our chambers, also on our website. Proof of publication for this meeting was in the paper December 17th, as well as on our website. Next up, we need to review and approve the minutes of our October 29th Board of Equalization meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Thanks. Okay, so moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
aye.
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes, adopted agenda.
So moved to adopt agenda.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Bowman,
Yes.
aye.
Yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes, and we do have to allow a public comment section again.
I think this has a little bit to do with equalization and spending money and whatever. But I just thought of the amount of time that was spent here on bids and what you want. And I'm thinking of all the years I've sat here and the hours and hours you put in and listening during budget time, trying to tweak 10 cents here and $100 here out of this whatever. I will be doing everything in my power to help Epic Tax get put into effect. And I know that scares the crap out of everybody, but if everybody thinks about everything we're having to do now, I'm not sure an Epic Tax would be any bigger of a pain.
Thanks, I assume that was Willard Peterson.
Sorry. Willard Peterson, 514. 514 Road 13, York, but I'm a proud resident of Bradshaw. Sorry about that. I apologize.
Anybody else from the public at this point in time? Seeing nobody else get up, we will discuss an act on approving the annual motor vehicle tax exemption for nonprofit organizations. Everybody got that list in front of them. And these are the normal annuals. Obviously, if anybody adds to their fleet, we get those throughout the year. And there is a list of them. And as you've seen, the treasurer approved them all.
Correct.
Was there anything with the additional, or just was it, there wasn't anything, those weren't separated out for any special?
No, I think it was just two separate.
Throughout
additions.
the year, they get presented.
No, I
to
think
us,
there's
and-
there's two attachments on there.
Oh, yeah, those were just filed with me late. Yeah, they
Better.
weren't additional,
Yep.
they were just.
Yep.
But this one doesn't have an approval. Doesn't have anything.
I think it's probably
Adopted, yeah.
overlooked.
Yep, because we've done those in the past. Okay, gentlemen? I know it always seems the same thing on the parcels of land. It's a whole lot of them, but it fits what they can do, so. I didn't go through and count them all.
There's no new entities.
I don't think so. I think these are all
Just-
just,
Renamed
Yeah, York, so it's the York University.
York University, and then the, Hope Gospel Rescue Mission is,
Not the Columbus Rescue Mission anymore,
No.
so it's that one. Yep.
Move to approve all exemptions as presented.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Bowman,
Yes.
I,
Yes.
Sykes.
Yes.
Brooks,
yes.
Obermeyer.
Yes. Okay, we are to the end of our meeting. Anything else? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Brooks says-